Bye. Almost home. Going for your walkies this morning. Boy, I don't know about the rest of you, but last night the Pacific Northwest was pretty busy. we had power outages, we had winds. We actually finally had some real winds here on the Oregon coast. Had some things go flying. We didn't get very much rain though. Most of it for us was a lot of wind. We had a few downspouts, but I think they said we got something like 1.1 inches of rain. Ooh, I'm so used to having 2 inches of rain. I know, right? The wind, it was pretty fierce. Oh, Wawa Nui Jane. For those that are new, Wa in Lemuria is first love. It's one of the foundational principles. And then Wawa means much love. And Wawa Nui is much love to everybody. So we say Wawa Nui. Jane, remind me of what your Huna essence was, if you would, please. Hi, Utica. Yeah, it was quite a walk. Just going to let some people get piled in here, and then we'll be doing some of the Lemurian Light Codes, and we'll do a little bit of sharing. One of the things that I didn't mention earlier was with the sign that we're going to be going into, which is Honu, which is the sign of the sea turtle. The Stargate for this month that we're coming into for March, it's going to go from Dupo, which is Venus in the evening, for Tirani, which is the hummingbird, and we're going to go to Waho, which is the moon. A huge flashless night. Yeah, I had one that cracked last night that was did the same thing, where it was lightning, and it surged the darkened. We surged and then we darkened, but then the light came back on, the electricity came back on, and then wasn't terribly long. I think we lost power around 6 o'clock last night, and it didn't restore until 11:30, I think. And then we went, yay! And then the power went back out again. It took them a while to get it back restored. But, I was just happy that we got our electricity back. Okay, well, we'll go ahead and get started, since it looks like we're taking some time getting some people in here. Yeah, I still have to watch it from yesterday. Utica is talking about the 0 point video is found on HOH TV, and it's the first video that Huna did. Huna Kahasahi and Huna Tama Ake have done after Huna Flash went to 0 point. And yeah, that's interesting that everybody was seeing the Flash, since he was known for that symbol, which was the 0 point. Yeah. 6 p.m. Rain was sideways here for the Pacific Northwest, which is pretty normal, truthfully. And then there were solar flares. I have not seen anything on the solar flares. I know everybody's talking about it. I have tried to get some information for the Schumann resonance, and I cannot for the life of me get up-to-date information on the Schumann resonance. So I just let it go. Usually if I cannot find information, I have to let it go, and just it'll come back around if it's important for me. But it's been quite different. If there's something that just doesn't want to be seen, it hides pretty big. Oh, the other things that we're going to be doing for the upcoming month of Honu is there are actually 3 different solfeggio frequencies that you can use I like to say anything that's above 600 hertz is beneficial, but you can use 639, 528, or even 417 for support for the upcoming month. And the color and the correspondence for this month is going to be green, and it's for the heart. Go. Okay. Now that's interesting. So Utica's saying over in Mumbai, India, they are cloudy for the last 6 months. And ironically, we have just spent, I don't know about anybody else, but for the Oregon coast in January, we had nothing but sun. I'm kind of glad for our crab fishermen that it was so peaceful, but normally we have rain. And we have not had rains, and the weather patterns have been really freaky weird, I have to say. Hey, Paul, how you doing? Oh my goodness. So Paul has managed to move himself from Pennsylvania to South Carolina. That is wonderful. I love it here. 76 degrees. So you're already in shorts weather. Don't pack away your coat. Sometimes you get a false spring. Kind of like the fall, you'll get a little bit of you get some chilly weather, and then you end up with it dips back into summer weather for a little bit. Okay, well, I see we've got quite a few people that are hanging out here, so we'll get started. I'm going to do some energy work to get us on the same page, energetically speaking, and does anybody need to do let's see what we've got. Oh, so Paul's chatting here. Oh, that's interesting. Oops, wrong one. Saying hi to everybody. Wonderful. I'm really pleased that you had that happen. That is great, especially for that location. The Carolinas are considered to be the South, and so you can have a lot of layers of energy and stacks of people, generations of people, all living on the land. And so by having the priest come through the house to cleanse and clear everything inside and outside, that's really important. That gives you a chance to have a clean slate then. That's what I was saying about the weather pattern that we had here on the Oregon coast. It's like this. It's like hot summer already, and it's supposed to be winter. And it was the same for us. I mean, January, we didn't have rain for most of January. In fact, we didn't even have clouds most of January. Hi, Rossi. Aw, I like your kitty. I used to have a black kitty. He passed over quite a ways back. Little monkey sometimes comes up. What priest? The local priest. Paul would have had a local priest to cleanse the house. Mm-hmm. Yeah, he'll do a lot like the cleansing ceremonies that we'll do, where you go through each and every room. All of the cupboards are opened up. All of the doors are opened up. And so you literally go through absolutely every room. Now, obviously, he's going to be using different prayers, and he'll be using holy water. And if he is Catholic, usually they'll have the Bible. But they'll go through each and every room, cleansing and clearing and doing specific codes or prayers, I should say, for the priests. And it's very similar to the codes that we would be speaking then if you were doing a Lemurian house cleansing. Yes, I love how he went outside and did it. Yes, because you do need to do that with the land as well, as you start usually with the interior. And you're literally going to do absolutely everything from the basement all the way to the attic and then outside. And you want to be able to do it all the way to the property boundaries. Nice. Is anything to balance? A clear path to service. Mm-hmm. Oh, while we were speaking of the storms, I know I'm distracted too. This was one that came through because, I like to try to validate things. And so when people have been talking about, the tinnitus, the ringing in the ear thing that's been happening for since 2020, one of the things that it can be or has been mentioned was 5G. And when we had the power outage last night, then I could determine, because it's like, oh, everything, of course, goes quiet, silent, because there is no humming, there is no electricity that's going throughout the house or the neighborhood. You get a really deep quiet, and yet I still had the tinnitus going, even though the cell phone towers and the power lines were completely off. So no, the tinnitus is definitely not caused from the cell phone towers or the 5G that's being generated. Yeah, you also had a candle going. That is a great idea. Other people are saying smudge with cedar. I love the cedar. We have incense cedars native to the Pacific Northwest. Actually, now that I'm saying that out loud, I haven't seen an incense cedar in a long time. We were thinking about planting some incense cedars on our place, but we have an open meadow land where we have, which is really rare. So we've chosen to not plant trees as much as we can. Our power went out briefly. LED lights stayed on. That's interesting. You got lucky. Actually, to the south of us, they stayed out a lot longer than we did. And up the Columbia River, I suspect that there was one really super strong breeze that went up that. In fact, you can probably hear some of the wind now. I think we've got the rest of the storm that's tailing through, which means up in Washington, you guys are probably going to get it next. But let me see what we can do here. I'm going to go ahead and do some coding right quick. Tihe, ori, ora, mahakawa tahe, ite ingawa, tito irita o otawana, wayuatapikita, ite ingawa, tafinui, tarani tikitao, wayuatapu, ite ingawa, tafaya tamatua tatama, wayuatapu, tihe, ori, ora, te e a u. I a b u e o p u un I il ma eb ni e no to ab o ul un u a e de I a u p o e u p a I un ul o eb tono e ni eb ma il I hakta toropa potihi duma kaki ma kaki ka Naro hawa tu takima takikatai tu teu upo. There we go. Ooh, goodness. See, that's what I think it is too. She's asking if it's frequency upgrades, and I think so too. Thank you. That's really nice, Paul. I'm so glad. Oh, you've got your nephews there. Sweet. That'll be great for them too. Having their uncle around. That'll be fun. Wonderful. Oh, so it bent your back fence. That's a shame. Must have been a pretty good sized branch. Yeah, part of our fence went flying, but I reassembled it this morning. Oh, yeah. Now that you're mentioning it, because it's like this, she's saying, so far, no fighting. That's a good thing. Go for a walk if you need, Paul. Just coming through a heart activation with the Kundalini something or other. I had a strange one. I want to say that's been a couple weeks back, but it was quite different. And yes, the calibrations are definitely going to sound different. But but it was quite different. It sounded like I don't know if anybody's been around like a clarinet reed, but when you put your thumb around the clarinet reed and you just kind of thumb it and you get that resonation. I had that happen, kind of with my third eye and my throat chakra. And then there was an activation. There was a surge, an energy surge that came from toy. I have to go through and try to remember what the regular chakra is for that. Toy is sacral, so it was the energy from the sacral. But it was quite unique. I did some. Let's see what we got here. Too busy for chatting, but I want to let you know that my puppy and cat stopped their shenanigans by the time that you finished. That's funny. I'm so glad. So they're simmering down. That's great. And yeah, as Utica was saying, today's calibration is going to sound different, and it will sound different each time that I do it. I'm being prompted. I'm floating through the energy whenever I'm working with it. So it will come out, the pronunciations will come out differently depending on what's being called for. So it's very intuitive, and it's going to be working it's a multi-dimensionality that works on your energy system. Did I hear more about beach whales? It could be that, but there are quite a lot of things that are happening with the oceans that we're not privy to. And some of that can be, as much as we have our UFOs, which are in the skies, it can also be under the water as well. But it's not just the fracking problems that they're talking about. The bigger culprit that I've been hearing and seeing have been things such as the stupid windmills. They're trying to do underwater explosions to get those put in place. And I got to be honest, I am not a fan of the windmills. I really don't appreciate what they do with those. It could be an underwater earthquake, but the big thing has been the explosions from they're testing places, but they're also putting pylons in places. Let's see, scrolling back up here, you guys are chatting a bit. Consultations today. That's interesting. Yes, we are just entertainment purposes only. Oh, that's wonderful. Yay! That's great. Annie Bear's got my MP3s. And if you want an MP3 of your very own, you can go through my website. In the description box below is debbiedement.com. And so it's just my name.com. And I am available for one-on-ones as well. Oh, that's wonderful. Yay, my soothing video. My soothing video can be found on the channel. That's great. Let me see. So let me see. I wouldn't know, truthfully. I do know that with Lemuria 3, it is based in Asia. It would be India, Mongolia, and so some of the things that we get in the like the different mantras, or like kaha versus chakra. Chakra is what you get from India. They're very similar, and so you can hear those root sounds through the languages there, and they convey the essence. It's not just usually whenever we're doing languaging or we're speaking to one another, we're using a representation. The sounds itself means something simply because it's been assigned a representation. It is only a symbol or a placeholder as we convey information to one another. When you hear things from Lemuria, such as kaha, then you are picking up the actual essence. We don't actually speak of something. We are speaking the thing. So when you see something like my name, Kamaroha, I'm not telling you my name. That means she who channels light on the exhale, but you're actually getting the whole essence, the energy essence, packet of essence of that name. That's why I was asking earlier, I think it was Jane that had come in, and I was asking her if she had her Huna essence to share, but I think she's busy right now. So underwater earthquake, and yeah, as far as the matriarchy versus the patriarchy, it is just a matter of we've continually done this wobble from one side to the other, and so we're going from masculine to feminine. Well, all of us have masculine energy. That's our head energy. We've been thinking with our logos, thinking with our head, which aligns with Atlantis, truthfully. And then Lemuria is our feminine, and that is in the heart. That is the heart chakra. And that is, like I said, Lemurian. But we're actually aiming for a balance of the two. We're trying for the high heart, which is Tatama. So we're trying to balance the head and the heart to avoid having another collapse of the society. We're trying to ascend up into the 5D, which is not their side versus my side. It is completely backing away from the division entirely. Wow, that's kind of cool. Let me see. She says, I saw a video on Kumara Kundaman, and I'm sorry if I messed that up for the pronunciation. What they described I had seen in a dream, that I went underwater and I was there. Maybe I can't swim due to sunk, I think. That can be something. Sometimes in past lives, we can have things that carry over. Hi, Liz and Awe. How you doing? I haven't seen you in a long time, honey. I hope things are going really well for you. Yay. Yay. Ah, cool. Paul is already getting friendly with the neighbors, are you? Got to meet 5 of the neighbors. They have a once a year backyard grill party. That is so cool. Down to earth people, nice neighbor. I'm so glad. That's really fast that they've invited you into the neighborhood. That's great. I don't, this is just it with the solar and the windmill and everything. I'm not a fan of solar either. It creates a spot in the air, in the atmosphere, that is condensed and high heat, and quite frankly harms the birds just as much as it does with the windmills themselves. I'm not a fan of windmills. I never have been, because it will dry out the soil. So why does Lemuria have its own language? The essence from Lemuria was kept secret in the mystery schools in New Zealand. And so that has been preserved. But you will also get the essences from where Lemuria has been in different other areas of the world itself. Oh, kind of wild. That was part of why Lunaflash used to travel around the world. He would go visit in Norway. He would go visit all the elders in Honu Island. He would be over in Hawaii. He would be in the Polynesians. He was in Turkey. He was in Greece, Isle of Rhodes. He was in Tenerife off of Africa. I mean, he traveled all over to do the sharing of his knowledge that he gained, but also to share what his elders had taught him, to reignite and remind people of what they had as well. Beautiful. Thank you, Jane. Her essence, she is a Huna as well, is Hamanisa. That's beautiful. Totoma. Is that your name? My chance? My chance or Annie's chance? I'm not too sure. I can go through mine again and explain. Hi, Lori Hunsinger. How you doing? Paul, yes, you are. Yes, you are, honey. Paul is the light of the party. Yeah, and that's just it. See, this is garbage stuff that has been sold to people as, oh, it's so environmentally friendly, and nothing could be further from the truth. It pulls the moisture from the land, but it kills an insane amount of birds. And I am at bats as well. I am so not happy with them. Oh, well, thank you. I appreciate it. She says I was busy. English is not my first language. She's learning my accent. I have a strange accent, don't I? I don't like solar because um, it hasn't been seen in a long time. But whenever you've got like a magnifying glass and you concentrate the sun's rays, it sets fire to things. And that's the problem whenever you've got well, I've got two bugaboos with it. Two things. One, it sets up a death ray. And I know that the algorithm's not going to be too happy with me, but that's exactly what it is. So whenever the birds try to fly across it, they get themselves killed. And then the other problem that I have with solar is because they are made of panels of different minerals and metals. And so what happens is whenever they break down, those are not easy. At first, they're like, oh, well, we're going to recycle them. They're tiny little tubes of glass. They're very fragile. And what happens is they can't actually recover them. They can't do anything with them. And so you've got banks and banks and banks of these things where they're like, better not tell people that we can't actually do anything with these things. I'm not sure how to recycle them. And I'm not really sure how we're going to put that into the soil, because we really probably shouldn't put it into the soil because it's got rows and rows of heavy metals and minerals that shouldn't be there. So no, I am actually not too thrilled. Now, if you've got something that's tiny, like you've got a little item that's just a solar light, that's not a problem. I mean, I've got electric fencing that's set up like that. My bugaboo is whenever you've got things on an industrial scale. And it's the same sort of a thing. If you've got just one windmill on a farm in Kansas where it's pulling up the water from underneath for the livestock, that's one thing. But they go in there with those mega things and they don't break down well. That's another one that they're struggling with in order to recycle. Those things are fiberglass. They break off. And we're not even talking about what happens whenever lightning strikes those things and explode it. It's scary. And that's not very environmentally friendly either. But the problem with it is they'll set up all of these rows because they're like, all right, the wind blows through here. Wind will go wherever the easiest lack of resistance is. And so if you have set up an entire bank of rows upon rows of these windmills, then what's going to happen is the wind will shift because it is looking for the easier thing to go through. So it's not as they depict it. They put it forward as being so environmentally friendly. The sad thing is, if you had somebody like Nikola Tesla, one of the first things that he created, and I believe to this day it's still set up, was the waterfalls at Niagara. He set up the electrical system, the hydroelectrical system, to supply electrical light to New York City. That is way more valuable than what we have by trying to do these strange things with the solar panels or with the windmills. I'm just seriously not a fan of those. But the hydro dams have been around for a very long time, and they are also the same thing. With the power, like I said, with as long as your rivers are flowing nice and true, or in the case of the dams, they had set up the dams in various areas to have the water flow through, and it does the spin on the turbines and it generates the water, will generate the electricity. Now, that said, we are still moving into the age of Aquarius. And we have yet to um, to harness the plasma energy, the ether that is all around us, which is pretty wild. I'm still looking forward to seeing how, it was called free energy, but even Tesla was working with it, trying to get free energy available for humanity. So it'll be interesting to see. So let's see what we got here. Let's see. Oh, so she's gone into Ohio. Wonderful. Okay, in case you lose your insurance. Yay. Much love and light to you too, Liz. Are the mystery schools like the magic schools? I think so. Are the mystery schools like the magic schools in Harry Potter? I think it gives us secret knowledge to awaken our memories. I think that you get drawn to looking for different pockets of memories, and you're here on this call because there is a part of you that does remember. So you are awakening and remembering yourself. Lori had an attainment and a clearing on Sunday. Monday had a jury duty. Crashed yesterday with all the. I'll bet you did. That was quite an up and down there, wasn't it? Oh, a movie. So there's a new movie that's coming out, Paul? That's interesting. I hadn't heard of it. Oh, okay. I don't have any of the chance, so I guess how to spell some of what you said. It would depend on what I was saying. Yeah. See, that's just it. They sold us a lie too. It's not. Yeah, and I really, in fact, I have to say, whenever they installed the smart meter, um, I ended up taking a wrapper from an EMF. It was a specific bag that was created to protect from EMF on a particular product. And what I ended up doing was the product I'd already used. So I went ahead and split the seams on it, and I actually duct taped that thing around the EMF meter because on the smart meter, because it was messing with my energy system big time. The Lemurians will open. I think that there's going to be, as we step forward and into it, it's going to be interesting. I think it will be a great revealing, and then it will be just a natural, just the same as breathing. So yeah, I really do think that that's going to be something that we'll just slide right into. And yeah, I do. I like the hydro. I've always loved the hydro dams. And I know that people keep saying, well, what about the fish? Our fish out here in Oregon have been maintained and taken care of for almost a century. Um, Actually, yeah, I think it has been a century now. And so our hydro dams out here have been set up specific fish locks so that they maintain the salmon. And then on top of that, the salmon stock that we do have are also grown by our Fish and Wildlife, and they are released. So it's a very specific process that has been done to maintain everything as purely as possible. And you'll find, like along the Columbia River, that's where one of our hydro dams are. But I've also seen different areas. Bagnell Dam is one of them. And then, of course, there's the one with Lake Havasu. That's near Vegas. And so these are all the areas that have natural waterfalls. And it's easy to harvest, and that is just it. Tesla, that was one of the first projects that he did. In fact, Oregon has so much hydroelectricity, if they will leave our dams alone. We didn't vote on it, but they have already removed a dam from the border of California and Oregon. And so far, the animals are not thrilled with it. The eagles can tell you this was a disaster. It's not going to be beneficial to that region, but we export. electricity from Oregon. So it's not in our benefit to lose our hydro dams. Yeah, the birds absolutely get wiped out from the windmills. It's the same problem with the electric vehicle. I have to say, for anybody that's in the electric vehicles, if you've got one of those, there are tools that you can find that helps you to break through the windows, or if you can practice getting out of an electrical vehicle, you need to be very careful with them. They catch fire spontaneously. There was a man, at least we think it was just one man, but it was 2 summers ago, and it was on the Washington side. And by the time that his car had caught fire, there was nothing. I mean, it spontaneously sparked and went. By the time that they got pulled over, there were 2 other cars that were traveling behind. The whole thing was consumed. Whoever it was perished in that. The car wasn't damaged. He wasn't in any kind of an accident. It was a spontaneous thing. And around the same time frame that happened, there was a woman that was, I think she managed to make it out, but that was exactly what she was saying. She said that all of a sudden the thing filled full of smoke. Now, I am told there is a manual release inside, but usually what happens with an electric vehicle is once the electricity goes out, the locks lock in place, and then you cannot get the thing open. I'm told that there is some sort of an opening for the door. So I would hope if you're going to use one of those, please practice it. But we were not told. Yeah, it's like this. Idaho gets all of its electricity from water. It's the same thing with Oregon. If they would leave it alone. Yeah. It's like this, the water, it has depths that we have yet to explore. I agree. Absolutely. I can't swim. I know, right? That's one of my bigger bugaboos. Yeah. And if they'd have left Tesla alone. And that's just it. The problem with Tesla was that he wanted to bring forth the free energy for everybody. And that's when the electrical companies just freaked out and backed away because, of course, their control and their money-making system was by charging everybody for the electricity and the energy. And with him, he's like, no, everybody should have that. In fact, he had Wi-Fi signals with Wardenclyffe. He was studying this. And he's like, can you imagine if we'd had Wi-Fi 100 years ago? How much more advanced would we be? I think that this is something that a lot of Lemurians lean for, is the white flowy robes. And yeah, Edison did steal from Tesla, for sure. Beautiful. Ask for a parent energy angel to help me and ask the ancestors to. Wow, so they are more easily felt now. Annie Bear, that's going to be some of feeling into this month, and we're still in this month for another 3 days. So this is the tiny voice from heaven. It's also access to the sacred spaces and places. So we get a lot of visions and information. And like you're saying, the veil is thinner. So we actually feel things more, like she's saying, planetary awareness. Exactly. And so we have more access to that right now in these days of Tirani, which is February 1st through the 28th. And then what happens is, as we take that energy and that information, then we go through the whole month of Honu, which is the sea turtle coming up. So from March 1st through the 28th, we're going to be doing what's called navigation. And we will be navigating the new energy and the new information that we brought in. And as we are speaking of it and we're navigating it and we're playing with it, we are beginning to unfold some of our energy system. So it's a big expansion of it. I think of the other side as a mysterious universe when I am diving on a wall go into a profound awe state at the depth and the mystery, and the aliens are in there too. Yeah, that's so cool. Okay, Paul. Well, thank you so much for stopping by. I want to find out what to do with my smart meters. You also have them on your water. Happy I have water pipes of copper. I agree. Um, with this, like I said, Jane, with the smart meters, oh my goodness, I did not know this. She's actually saying those things will catch fire. Yikes, yikes, yikes. And you can't quench it. That's not cool. Yeah, Jane, I used something that was an EMF. It was an EMF, um, just a piece of plastic, truthfully, that was intended to block the EMF signals. And so I just duct taped it to the exterior of the smart meter. And it made a huge difference. Oh, I didn't know that. Hypnicity is saying you can use your seatbelt buckle to break the glass. There are specific tools, those hammers or whatever, and that's just it. Yeah, yep. Here's Rossi. Okay, here we go. Yeah, you can actually buy a glass puncher tool. It looks like a hammer, and like she's saying, most of the glass today you won't be able to break with a seatbelt. The other problem with the seatbelt, the tools that I've seen, not only is it the hammer to go ahead and punch through the glass, but it has a recessed razor blade so that you can cut through the material of the seatbelt, because that's the other problem that you've got is sometimes the seatbelts will latch into place and they won't release. So it's tricky. It really is tricky. Yeah, not a fan of that. I agree. Rossi's saying better to just get a fuel efficient car. Absolutely. And that's one too, because I've had people and they're like, well, what about you don't think too much of the environment? I think a lot of the environment, and I think that the cars that we have today are way more fuel efficient and cleaner than what we have. There's a lot of problems that I have with lithium. It's not as safe as what they make it out to be. Yep, you can always, as Utica's saying, keep a big hammer in the car in case of the emergency and do the drills. Ever so often practice it so that whenever you're panicked, you'll be able to grab hold of it. Hi, Kim. How you doing? We kind of wander a bit on our discussions here. Sometimes it's on Lemuria. Sometimes it's on, well, right now we're discussing things like the environmentally friendly or not friendly, different methods of energy systems. And I was purporting that I love still the old Hydrotech, mostly because it was made from Nikola Tesla. Well, I'm sure it wasn't made from. I'm sure that he went through, and that it's a system that's been around for a very long time. Beautiful. Wow. So what do I think of the two tall, glowing white, translucent beings? I think you had an amazing experience, is what I think. Yeah. Yes. Yeah. As Lori Hunsinger is saying, fortunately, more of the information is coming out, and that's just it. So we'll be able to get the knowledge of how do we deal with these. Now, I will say some of the technology and some of the stuff that we need to do is we need to be very careful as we're going forward, because like I said, they're finding that, oh my goodness, we have all of these windmills now that are breaking down. And I still think, I think it was a good idea to look at the plastic bags that we were utilizing. However, I don't think that was really truly the problem. They're finding a lot of bioplastics that are in our oceans, and it's ending up in the food sources. I think some of it is we have what's called the Great Gyre of garbage that spins out there in the ocean, but we also have the breakdown of the fiberglass from the windmills themselves. So it's all stuff that needs to be looked into and looked at. Because, if we don't even know that there's a problem, then we can't fix it. So if we know that there's a trouble, we've got tons of people in the world, so we can easily come up with a different solution. So cool. So Kim is down in Georgia, and she's saying, I have captured a lot of orbs with my camera at the I'm gonna make a mess of this, I know. Akmulji Indian mounds. And the vibration is high now. That is beautiful. Kim, do you think that those are from the natives themselves? Or do you think those are Star Nation beings that are coming in? Liz, I'm thinking that they're a Pleiadian, which would be Lemurian. It's possible that it could be angelic beings too. Yeah. Yep. This is the problem. I lived in Guatemala, and we did have a big problem with this. The plastics are a huge problem in the less developed countries. Bali had a lot of plastics on the islands. The big problem that we saw whenever I lived in Guatemala was that the people that lived there, because this was brought in from the Europeans, they didn't. Let me back that up. Their knowledge of their environment, they used banana leaves as wrappers, and it was very clever. And they wrapped everything where we would use a piece of plastic to like wrap a sandwich or something. They just grab a banana leaf and wrap it and use a banana leaf. And so, of course, with that, they would just throw it on the ground once they were finished, because a banana leaf is completely 100% biodegradable. Well, whenever the Europeans and other people came in with their plastics and they were attempting to explain to them, no, you can't burn the plastics. And they would nod, and then they would just simply go, yeah, sure, yeah. They were great at yes. And then as soon as the person turned their back, they just throw it on the fire, or just have the waste absolutely everywhere. So, Oh, okay. So I think the orbs, native and galactic, one of the orbs is like a tiny spacecraft. So it retracted and expanded. That is so cool. What color was it? I know. Isn't it amazing? It was fascinating to me just how they've got specific ways of wrapping things. And truthfully, if a banana leaf works for you, why in the world would you ever bother with a piece of plastic? And yeah, I tend to agree with Lori. Well, all of us will have the information that we need for a safe and clean planet as soon as the galactics can safely be around it. And humanity does a great job of cleaning and clearing things as well. And yeah, it's nice to see Liz and all again. Oh, beautiful. That's Arcturan. Usually the blue is an Arcturan color. Let me think. Actually, now that I'm saying it out loud, I'm trying to remember. There was a gal from China. She was pretty young, and she had traveled over to the East Coast. It's been several years back. It was well before the pandemic problems. And she was doing, her gift was singing. And that was just it. There was a connection between, that may have been the Cherokee that were doing the guarding of the knowledge for that one, but she was doing singing and bringing out the different star nations at the same time as learning. Oh, beautiful. So Jane, she's saying, I suddenly ears filled with great peace. I needed it so much after the chaos that our government is making. I do not sleep well. Yeah. So I bet it's really early in the morning for you. Banana leaves for the tamales in Mexico. Yum 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 yum. Okay. So Lori Hunsinger is also saying that the Syrian bees are another blue. There are different connotations to the blue as well because I've seen it before, but I've seen it aligned with Arcturians a lot. And yeah, next time, ask in your heart. Yeah, trust your intuition too. Absolutely. Ah, cool. So Kim, and again, this is in Georgia, says I took sequential pictures, and the images had the sky as the background. Awesome. Beautiful. I don't know who's got it, but we've got somebody in the group that has something going on with their right neck. One of my other gifts is that I actually do energy healing. So I'm just going to keep balancing this on the right hand side. So if you feel me moving around, if you're sensitive to energy, sometimes people can feel me moving things around. But yeah, there's definitely something going on for somebody here. So I'm just going to dip into this and see if I can get that moved off a little bit. Later this week, I'm supposed to be on with Valerie at Illumination Portal. I don't know if that's going to happen, but that'll be Friday at 10 a.m. if we're still a go. And if not, then I will probably try to hop on later this week to do another. It'll be focused on the energy systems in and around the body. It's I do cleaning and clearing of the meridians. Okay, Jane. So that's probably you that I'm working on. It feels like there's more than one person, so don't take it as you're doing anything wrong. But yeah, it was one of those things where it's snuck in, and I was like, wow, that's really really in there actually. Wow, that is so cool, Kim. Says this is amazing. It was faint, but definitely there. I took 11 pictures, and then at the end, when it disappeared, the two round orbs appeared. It was green and it was pink. Beautiful. That's gorgeous. Oh, that's so sweet. She says Utica says we still use the banana leaves for religious meals, and then they're put back into Mother Earth, or they're fed to the goats or the cows, etc. after cleaning. Oh, that's beautiful. Yeah, that's just it. I mean, we live in so many different places that, truthfully, everybody knows how to take care of their land. Let me reframe that. Nowadays, maybe not so much because I've got a lot of really disconnected people from the land that don't know what they're doing with it. But most cultures, you're going to find they know the old ways that work with things. The banana leaves like plates for the religious meals. Yeah, and like I said, that it worked just as well as plastic wrap down there. And of course, we had bananas absolutely everywhere. And that's one big difference too, because Guatemala is so close to the equator that you have them growing year round. So it's an endless resource. I'm still working on the neck, if anybody's curious. One of the things that I do want to do, though, I want to go back through, and I want to do the Hidden Flash called it the login, but I call it the harmonization. But I want to go back through, and I'm going to just tell you the wording behind the codes that I do. Okay. So we're going to start off with Tihe Ori, grateful for the breath of life, From the void of the cradle of creation comes Ma, first light, Ha, first breath, Ka, first birth, Wa, first love, Ta, first stone, He, first fire, first dimension. It ing Wa, in the name of. Tito iri, the vibration. To o, the frequency. To wana, the energy. Wayuwatapu, I remember. Second dimension. It ing Wa, in the name of. Tifanui, the land. Tarani, the sky. Tikatau, the water. Wayuwatapu, I remember. Third dimension. It ing Wa, in the name of. Tefaya, the mother. Tamatua, the father. Titama, the child. Wayuwatapu, I remember. Tihe, ori, ora. Multidimensionality, grateful for the breath of life. There we go. Mostly I wanted to share because there are meanings to the words whenever I'm doing it. Hey, Karen, how you doing, woman? It's been a minute. There we go. But as I was saying earlier too, if oh, I am so sorry, honey. Big hugs to you. If you want, oh, baby. Oh, honey, I am so sorry. Sending you a lot of love. I know that's what she was wanting, but at the same time, that is really tough. Big hugs to you, honey. Big hugs. Just cry as much as you can. And as many times as you need. I am so sorry, honey. Karen's mama, yeah, crying is the new career and it will be for a long time. It takes the time that it needs. But yeah, Karen's mama, she actually had a birthday not too terribly long ago, and she made it to 101. But yeah, she was clearly wanting to head to the other side. But that's not, yeah, just really big hugs to you, sweetheart. Yeah. Yep. Just cry as much as you can. Eventually, what'll happen is you'll start laughing, but you'll go through different stages and phases, including a lot of anger. And try not to hang on to any of the stages because they're just phases of the grief process. And it takes the time that it takes. You know, you're going to think that you zoomed through it and you're okay, and then it just hits you like a ton of bricks. Yeah. Goodness. That's really tough. And the ones that we love, they're always around us. They really are. It's just the difficulty is you can't touch them, you can't share. Yeah. Folding her clothes and then I just cave over. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Be gentle with yourself and allow it to happen. It's not weakness. You need it better out than in. Yeah. Well, you know, some of the people that have been here, because we are going through quite a huge change, we're literally going from the age of Capricorn to the age of Aquarius, which is Lemurian 5. And at the same time, some of the people planned to be here only to see the end of the age of Capricorn. And we've gone through quite a lot of the turmoil of going into it's the mixing of waters in between the two ages. And so some of the people they never planned to actually go into the age of Aquarius. So it's a lot of leaving as we transition from one age into the other. Right now, I'm working on everybody's right shoulder. I'm underneath the shoulder blade itself and just continuing to do some energy work as we talk. Goodness. That actually moved energy on somebody's stomach meridian. There we go. Down around the right elbow right now. And now the right forearm, wrist, and hand. Excuse me. There's a lot of energy release there. While I'm working on the energy systems, if there's any time that you have yawning, sneezing, crying, burping, passing wind, rumbling in the tummy, those are all energy. They're signs that the energy has shifted. And so you'll want to take a drink of water after we've finished, or you can grab it now. It doesn't really matter. What'll happen is that water then will flush out the toxins that have been released. Usually those are all indicators that you've had a physical reaction to the energy being released off. And our animal friends, they'll usually get themselves a drink of water of their own accord. So it's usually the people that I have to tell simply because they are more keen to grab alternatives to water, but really if you can just get some water. Wow. Hey, Randy. Karen was just sharing with us that her mother's passed away. And Randy, right now I am still working on everybody's shoulders and neck, mostly on the right-hand side. Oh, glad to see you too. Wow. Oh, babe. So Kim's saying after her father had passed, her dad came back as a grasshopper for about a year. Everywhere I went, there was a grasshopper. And he even came into my basement and perched on the mantle. Yeah, grasshoppers don't move. Yeah, they don't. They move along. And yep. Yep. Utica, I'll probably get over there on that other side as well soon enough. But you can certainly hook into the energy right now and just ask for it to go ahead and get started on the left hand side. I just started working because somebody's neck, okay, yeah, my neck is already feeling better. Yeah, somebody's neck was just really starting to creak in there. It's like, yikes. Yeah, it feels like somebody slept on it wrong or something. Okay, I'm gonna go ahead and work on the neck on both sides. I'm at the base of the skull where the spine meets the base of the skull. And I'm sure that we'll be doing some of this on, like I said, Friday morning. If everything goes well, I'll be with Valerie on Illumination Portal, and that'll be on her site, on her channel at 10 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. And if we can't, then I'm going to try to be on later this week, either on Thursday or Friday then. Ooh, goodness, that's yummy. Sipping on a homemade lemon tea. Yeah, the occiput. What I'll try to do afterwards is I'll try to go through this one and timestamp it for the different energy systems, because I did some of the Lemurian Light Codes earlier in this, and then I'll go ahead and try to timestamp that so that if you're interested in the light codes, you can certainly pick those up. Beautiful. Yeah, it's feeling a lot better already. Okay, I'm on the thoracics in between the two shoulder blades. Thank you, Lori. She says, I will be praying and holding space for you and all of your mom's loved ones for Karen. Yeah, it just sucks. There's just no two ways around it. In the wiki wiki. Underneath the left shoulder blade right now, and the left shoulder. Randy, I was working on my friend's van. Well, of course you were. Left elbow and forearm down through the wrist. And then down through the hands. Out into Mother Earth. There we go. Beautiful. Okay, we're just going to ground that energy off. There we go. Valerie. She has my orb pictures. Valerie at Illumination Portal? Or do you mean Valerie? Because it's Valerie Bradshaw at Illumination Portal. Or is it the other Valerie that has the dragonfly? I can't remember what her channel's called. That's really cool that you've got the orb photos. Dragonfly crystal? Is that it? Dragonfly crystals, I think, was the other Valerie. Yeah, that one. But I'm not going to be on with her. I don't think I've ever been on hers. I'm going to be on an Illumination Portal. Yeah. It's like Kim B is saying, there's nothing like a mother's love. Well, very special. Uh-huh. Yeah, I'm going to be on with Illumination Portal. At least we had it on the books for February 28th at 10 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. I haven't checked in with her, but that's what we had planned quite a while back. If everything goes well, then I'll be on with her. If it is needed to be changed, then I will attempt to be on here again. Um, uh, but yeah, I'll attempt to be here later in the week then. Yeah, Valerie, she says the regular astrology, and she's very thorough at hers. Goodness, has anybody's eyesight gone funny this month? Mine gets blurred at night, so I should stop late night. Yeah, you should probably stop the late night binging. That's probably really rough on your eyes, especially at nighttime. So you should probably go to sleep, honey. Thank you so much for stopping by, though. Yeah, I started off with regular Western astrology and dove pretty deep into it. And then in 2021, I got a bump from the whales and the dolphins, and they had me learn to do the Lemurian astrology instead. Your eyesight's also blurry. It's pretty, yeah. Sweet dreams, honey. You have a good night's sleep. Mm. You'll have to catch the replay. Oh, Utica, and this goes for anybody too, that is, if you would like to ask a question or something, you can post that underneath here. And then the next time that I'm on, I can answer your questions for you so that you're not, I understand fully. Some of you, it's really late at night because we get people from around the world as well. And yeah, she's very intuitive. Valerie is. Yeah. Yep. Eyesight's blurry as well. 12, 3, 4. Here is 11, 3, 4. Yeah, it's been a minute. So, how is your world doing, Randy? Goodness, it's 1:04 a.m. in India. How neat. Uh, yep. Yeah, I'm thinking Jane is over in, oh, I was going to say Norway, but I thought it was Denmark. Somewhere in Europe. Super exhausted these past 2 days. All day. Well, Randy, whenever I keep running into activations, they do tend to make me really exhausted. And sometimes I have to push through because, I mean, let's face it, 3D world is not stopped. But if you get the opportunity, go ahead and get yourself a nap, and that will allow your energy system to integrate pretty quick. Yeah, okay, so I did get it right. You are in Denmark for Jane. My eyes watered a lot yesterday. Spent a lot of time outdoors, which is not good for my allergies, but I ignore it because I prefer to be outside in nature. Yep. Well, and I'm not too sure, but Kim, you might actually be getting some of the early seasonal pollens started from the trees. Yep. Gaia's energy was really strong. And there again, energy hitting the earth. Like I said, I haven't been able to track the Schumann resonance or the solar storms. I really like, if I can, I know that there's only two places now that are recording the Schumann resonance, and that is Tromsk in Russia, and then there is the one that is in Italy as well. Trying to find those on the internet, very difficult for me. I really like the one from Chomsky simply because it's closest to me, but it's fun to watch the patterns, see what the energy's coming. Alrighty. Well, gang. Oh, how pretty. Annie Bear has posted beautiful spring photos. Yeah, I noticed my daffodils are coming up, which just shocked me. I was not expecting it, but yep, looks like spring might be trying to ease in a little earlier than I expected it. I really expected it to be a very late spring this year, but I think regionally it's just going to be different for different parts of the world. But I'm going to go ahead and close this down, and I will then see the rest of you hopefully on Friday on Illumination Portal. And if not, then I will attempt to do another live stream on Thursday or Friday then, if I'm not on with Valerie. And I'll be focusing more on the energy work. And we'll probably go over like a bubble technique or something along those lines as well, just to make sure everybody's energies are in good shape as well. Okay, great. Thank you everybody for stopping in. And for those of you that weren't in the live chat, if you could just leave me a like. I understand sometimes you're really, really busy and stuff, but I really appreciate you all being here and sharing in the energy. Wonderful. Okay, well, if you're here, hopefully I'll see you either on Illumination Portal or again on my place. And if not, then I will see you next week for another Oracle card read and another chat. I'm going to put it in, Jane, if I am there, I'm also going to try posting at, it's going to be on the Illumination Portal, and I will attempt to get a post up when I do this, but it's going to be an Illumination Portal. Mahalo. Indeed. There and back again. Mahakawatahi tawakahama. Okay, everybody. Wawanui. Much love. Much love. See you next time.